Ladies and gentlemen, it's such an honor to stand before all of you today. When I first heard the phrase become useless so nobody can use you, it made me pause. It felt like one of those ideas that challenges everything we've been taught. We live in a world that glorifies being useful, being available, being indispensable. But let me ask you this: at what cost? There's power in recognizing that being useful to everyone can sometimes mean being used up by everyone. Growing up, I learned the hard way that the world doesn't always respect your boundaries, it respects your courage to enforce them. People will use you, drain you, and walk away as if it's their right to do so. But that stops the moment you reclaim your worth. Let me tell you something: your worth is not tied to how much you can do for others. It's not tied to how much you bend, how much you break, or how much you give away at the expense of yourself. You are not a resource to be consumed. You are a human being with dreams, desires, and the right to live unapologetically on your terms. One of the greatest lessons I've learned is the power of saying no, a two-letter word that can set you free. Saying no isn't selfish, it's self preservation. It's how you guard your energy, your dreams, and your peace. Because when you say no to others' exploitation, you're saying yes to yourself. And let's talk about the people in our lives. Authentic connections are rare and they're worth waiting for. Surround yourself with those who see your value not for what you can do for them, but for who you are. People who uplift you, support you, and challenge you to grow. Let go of anyone who doesn't honor that. You deserve relationships that fill your cup, not drain it. Lastly, let's shift from being people pleasers to purpose livers. Life isn't about fitting into everyone's expectations, it's about aligning with your own. Stop being so useful to the world that you lose sight of yourself. Be useless not because you're not capable, but because you're refusing to let anyone misuse your gifts, your time, or your soul. So today, I want to leave you with this: you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You don't need to give away pieces of yourself to feel valuable. You are whole just as you are. And when you step into that truth, the world doesn't get to use you. Instead, it gets to witness your magic, your power, and your unstoppable purpose. Thank you. Reclaiming your worth is not just an act, it's a journey, a deeply personal, often uncomfortable, but absolutely necessary process. From the moment we are born, society begins to assign value to us based on external factors: how we look, how we perform, how much we can contribute, and how well we fit into the boxes created for us. Over time, many of us internalize these ideas, believing that our value lies in our usefulness to others. And so we give and give, hoping to earn acceptance, love, and validation. But let's pause here for a moment. Who decided that your worth is tied to what you can do for others? Reclaiming your worth means unlearning these ingrained narratives. It's about stripping away the expectations and recognizing that your value is intrinsic. It's not up for negotiation, nor does it need external validation. You are not a transaction, and your worth cannot be measured in what you give or how much you sacrifice. This isn't about arrogance, it's about clarity. It's about understanding that your worth doesn't fluctuate based on how much someone else benefits from your existence. When you decide to reclaim your worth, it starts with setting boundaries. And let me tell you, boundaries are not walls, they are bridges to healthier relationships with yourself and others. Boundaries say, I know my limits and I honor them. They remind the world and yourself that you matter. But boundaries can be terrifying to set because they often come with pushback. People who've grown used to your constant giving may not take kindly to your newfound clarity, but their discomfort is not your burden. Reclaiming your worth means prioritizing your well being over someone else's convenience. It also requires you to take a hard look at your inner dialogue. How do you speak to yourself? What stories do you tell yourself about your value? Are you kind or are you your harshest critic? Reclaiming your worth means challenging those voices in your head that tell you you're not enough. It means replacing I have to earn love with I deserve love simply because I exist. It's about dismantling the belief that you must prove yourself in order to belong. This journey is not easy. It asks you to confront painful truths. You may realize that some of the people in your life only value what you can offer, not who you are. You may recognize patterns of self neglect that you've normalized. And it may require you to make changes that feel daunting or even isolating. But here's the truth: discomfort is a small price to pay for the freedom that comes with knowing your worth. Reclaiming your worth is not about rejecting others, it's about choosing yourself. It's about walking away from dynamics where you are reduced to your utility and stepping into spaces where you can be celebrated, not exploited. It's about holding your head high, knowing that your worth was never theirs to define. It's about reclaiming your narrative, rewriting the story, and standing firmly in the truth of who you are. The power of saying no is one of the most transformative skills you can cultivate in your life. It's a simple word, but it carries immense weight. For so many of us, saying no feels uncomfortable, even impossible, because we've been conditioned to believe that agreement equals harmony and rejection equals conflict. We grow up learning to prioritize the feelings, needs, and desires of others over our own, often at the expense of our own peace, time, and well being. But let me tell you this, every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying no to something that does. Saying no isn't about being difficult or unkind, it's about reclaiming your control over your life. It's about acknowledging that your energy, time, and emotional resources are finite and choosing to invest them wisely. When you don't set boundaries with your no, others will set them for you, and their priorities will take precedence over your own. Saying no is the ultimate act of self respect. It's a declaration that your needs, your goals, and your peace matter just as much as anyone else's, if not more. But here's the truth, saying no can feel terrifying. It challenges our deep seated fear of rejection and conflict. We worry about being labeled as selfish, uncooperative, or unkind. We worry about damaging relationships or missing opportunities. But this fear, while real, is often rooted in the mistaken belief that our worth is tied to how much we do for others. That's the mindset we need to break free from. Your no does not make you less valuable or less likable, it makes you authentic. The power of saying no lies in its ability to free you. It frees you from the shackles of overcommitment and burnout. It frees you from relationships that drain you instead of nurturing you. It frees you from the endless cycle of people pleasing that often leaves you feeling resentful and unfulfilled. Saying no is an act of liberation. It gives you back your time, your energy, and your focus. Learning to say no starts with understanding your priorities, what truly matters to you, what aligns with your goals and values. When you're clear about what's important, it becomes easier to recognize when something doesn't fit. Saying no is simply choosing to honor those priorities. It's saying, I respect myself enough to not dilute my energy on things that don't matter to me. And let's not ignore the fact that no can be hard to deliver to people you care about. Whether it's family, friends, or colleagues, saying no might feel like a betrayal. But here's the thing, the people who truly care about you will understand and respect your boundaries. And those who don't respect your boundaries aren't showing respect for you. Saying no doesn't mean shutting people out, it means setting healthy limits that allow you to show up fully and authentically when you do say yes. Saying no is also about silencing the guilt that often accompanies it. We've been conditioned to feel guilty for prioritizing ourselves, but guilt is not a reliable indicator of wrongdoing. Just because you feel guilty doesn't mean you've done something wrong. It's okay to disappoint others if it means staying true to yourself. You are not responsible for carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. There's also power in how you say no. You don't need to justify or explain yourself endlessly. A simple, firm, and polite no is enough. No, I can't. No, that doesn't work for me. No, thank you. Your no doesn't require an essay, it only requires your conviction. Over explaining often stems from a need to be validated in our decision, but remember, you don't need anyone's permission to protect your peace. When you embrace the power of no, you also become a role model for others. You show people that it's possible to set boundaries without losing compassion. You demonstrate that saying no doesn't mean you don't care, it means you care enough about yourself to say it. Building authentic connections is one of the most fulfilling and transformative aspects of life. In a world where surface level interactions have become the norm, finding genuine relationships can feel like searching for a needle in a haystack. Social media, busy schedules, and societal expectations often push us into a pattern of shallow exchanges, likes, comments, and casual conversations that lack depth. But deep down, we all crave something more, connections that are real, meaningful, and rooted in mutual respect and understanding. Authentic connections don't happen by accident, they require effort, vulnerability, and intentionality. They start with you showing up as your truest self. And let's be honest, that's not always easy. We're often tempted to wear masks, to present the most polished, likable version of ourselves in hopes of fitting in. But the truth is, You can't build real connections on a foundation of pretense. Authenticity is magnetic. It draws the right people into your life, people who see and appreciate you for who you really are, not who you're trying to be. To build authentic connections, you first need to embrace your own individuality, celebrate your quirks, your strengths, and even your imperfections. When you stop judging yourself, you become less judgmental of others, creating space for genuine relationships to flourish. Authentic connections thrive in an environment of acceptance where both parties feel safe to express themselves without fear of criticism or rejection. Vulnerability is another cornerstone of authentic connections. It's about letting your guard down and allowing others to see the real you, the messy, imperfect human you. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. It shows courage and builds trust, which is the foundation of any deep relationship. When you're willing to share your fears, dreams, and insecurities, you give others permission to do the same, creating a bond that goes beyond the surface. Authentic connections also require active listening. In a world where everyone is eager to be heard, listening has become a rare and precious gift. Truly listening means being present, setting aside distractions, and giving someone your full attention. It means hearing not just their words, but the emotions behind them. When you listen with empathy and openness, you make the other person feel seen and valued, which strengthens the connection between you. It's also important to recognize that authentic connections are a two-way street. They're built on mutual effort and reciprocity. You can't expect someone to invest in you if you're not willing to invest in them. This means showing up consistently, offering support, and being there during both the good times and the tough ones. Authentic connections are not about convenience, they're about commitment. Boundaries play a crucial role in building authentic connections. It might sound counterintuitive, but setting boundaries is actually one of the most loving things you can do in a relationship. Boundaries define what is and isn't okay, ensuring that both parties feel respected and safe. They prevent resentment and create space for the relationship to grow in a healthy way. Authentic connections flourish when there's a balance between closeness and individuality. Another key aspect of building authentic connections is letting go of relationships that no longer serve you. Not every connection is meant to last forever, and that's okay. Some people come into your life for a season or a reason, and holding on to relationships out of obligation or fear only drains your energy. Letting go creates room for new, authentic connections to enter your life. Authentic connections also thrive on shared values and purpose. While differences can enrich relationships, a strong foundation of common ground is what keeps them stable. Whether it's shared goals, interests, or philosophies, having something meaningful to anchor your connection helps it withstand the challenges and changes of life. Finally, building authentic connections requires patience. Deep relationships don't happen overnight, they're cultivated over time through shared experiences, trust, and understanding. It's about quality over quantity, focusing on the depth of your relationships rather than the number of people in your circle. Authentic connections are rare, but they're worth the effort because they add depth, meaning, and joy to your life. Shifting from people pleasing to purpose living is one of the most empowering transformations you can undertake. For so many of us, people pleasing starts early in life. It's born from a desire to be liked, accepted, and approved. We learn that saying yes earns praise, accommodating others keeps the peace, and sacrificing our needs makes us good, but over time, this habit becomes a trap. It leaves us feeling depleted, resentful, and disconnected from our true selves. Living as a people pleaser often means suppressing your own voice to amplify everyone else's. You say yes when you want to say no. You apologize for things that aren't your fault. You bend over backward to avoid conflict or disappointment, even when it comes at a cost to your own happiness. While it may seem like you're building bridges, what you're actually building are invisible chains, chains that tether you to others' expectations and rob you of your autonomy. The truth is, people pleasing is unsustainable. No matter how much you do, it will never be enough for everyone. There will always be someone asking for more, expecting more, or taking more. And in the process, you risk losing sight of who you are and what truly matters to you. That's where the shift to purpose living comes in. Purpose living is about redefining your priorities and choosing to align your life with what truly fulfills you. It's about asking yourself the hard questions: what am I passionate about? What impact do I want to make? What brings me joy and meaning? It's recognizing that your life is yours to design, and it's okay if your path doesn't please everyone else. Purpose living is not selfish, it's intentional. This shift requires a fundamental change in how you view yourself. People pleasers often derive their sense of worth from external validation. They feel valuable when they're useful, needed, or praised. Purpose living, on the other hand, stems from internal validation. It's about knowing your worth is inherent and doesn't depend on how much you do for others. It's about embracing the fact that you can't control how others perceive you, but you can control how you show up in the world. Breaking free from the people pleasing mindset also means learning to set boundaries, firm, unapologetic boundaries. It's about recognizing that saying no to others is often saying yes to yourself. Boundaries are not barriers, they're filters that help you protect your energy and focus it on what truly matters. They teach others how to treat you and remind yourself that your time and resources are valuable. One of the most challenging aspects of this shift is dealing with the guilt that often comes with prioritizing yourself. Society has conditioned us to feel guilty for putting our needs first, as if it's an act of selfishness. But here's the reality: you cannot pour from an empty cup. Living a life of purpose means filling your own cup first so you can give to others from a place of abundance, not obligation. Purpose living also invites you to embrace imperfection. People pleasers often strive to be everything to everyone, which is not only exhausting but impossible. Purpose living asks you to focus on progress over perfection. It's okay to let some people down, it's okay to have flaws, it's okay to not have all the answers. Purpose living is about authenticity, not perfection. This shift also transforms the way you approach relationships. As a people pleaser, you might attract those who take advantage of your giving nature. But when you start living with purpose, you begin to attract people who respect your boundaries, honor your values, and uplift you. Purpose living doesn't mean abandoning your relationships, it means cultivating ones that align with your goals and values. Shifting from people pleasing to purpose living also means reclaiming your time. People pleasers often spend their days running from one obligation to the next, leaving little room for self reflection or growth. Purpose living asks you to prioritize what truly matters. It's about saying no to distractions and yes to opportunities that align with your goals. It's about being intentional with how you spend your most precious resource, time. This transformation is not without challenges. You may encounter resistance from those who've benefited from your people pleasing tendencies. They may question your choices or try to pull you back into old patterns. But purpose living requires you to stand firm, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about having the courage to disappoint others if it means staying true to yourself. Shifting from people pleasing to purpose living is an ongoing journey. It requires self awareness, patience, and a willingness to let go of old habits. But with each step you take, you'll find a deeper sense of fulfillment, confidence, and alignment. You'll discover that living a life of purpose isn't just about achieving external success, it's about finding inner peace and living authentically. In life, your greatest power lies in knowing your worth, protecting your energy, and living with intention. By reclaiming your worth, you free yourself from the need for external validation and embrace the truth that you are enough, just as you are. By saying no, you set boundaries that honor your priorities, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. Authentic connections become your anchor, reminding you of the beauty of relationships rooted in respect and mutual understanding. And when you shift from people pleasing to purpose living, you unlock the freedom to align your life with your dreams, values, and passions. This journey isn't easy, but it's transformative. It's about choosing yourself unapologetically, creating a life that reflects your unique essence, and embracing the courage to live authentically. Remember, you don't need to be everything to everyone. You just need to be true to yourself. That is your ultimate superpower.